Hello everyone, welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. I'm happy that you've come to spend some time with me, and I have something I'm kind of excited about today. So I want to show you, I ordered for, I think it was $28 Canadian, this Stampin' Up! Card kit. So there's probably people who already know what this is going to be. So here is, this just came loose, but here is the card kit. These are the cards that you can make with it. So this comes with all your instructions, and it makes a really good gift, honestly, because it has a little ink pad, it has the little block for the little stamp that comes with it, which is a little city, and I have to admit that this is part of the reason I wanted it. So these are the items, and this is double-sided tape. It even comes up with like the pop tape here. So you have everything you need to make these cards. So here's the sentiments. They come in all the languages because Stampin' Up! Is everywhere apparently. And then here's the like little pop-out die cut things that you stamp on this one, and this one's for the card that has the circle on the front. So let's just pop that one out of there. There we go. And then here's the cards, and you fold them obviously like this. And you can follow all the directions exactly or do it your own way, but you know, this one here is like this, and you have some stamping on it, and then you have your sentiment and maybe a little gemstone and whatever else. So all the items are in the box. They are usually like packaged all together, but I kind of took them apart just so it would be easier to show you. These are the little pop-out things that go in behind for the sentiments. And then the envelopes are, so there's two different card fronts. These are the two card fronts. And then the envelopes are different as well. And I think that's everything in there. Yeah, that's everything that comes in there. So I said in a video before this, and I'll link that one after this because I used another card kit to make scrapbooking layouts, and that's what I'm going to do today. I may use some of these for cards, but for today, I'm going to make a scrapbooking layout of one of my trips to Europe, where we visited a city. When I saw this color in here, I was like, oh, that's perfect for these European cities with lots of brick in them. So I'm just going to, I'll just keep these two out so that I can show you. So this is the in colors here. So let's spread them out. And 3 of the in colors are used in this card kit. So you can see right away which ones aren't. These two aren't. And I have to say, like, this is not a bad color, but I'm not a fan of this. I think it looks like baby poop. I don't know. You guys let me know. I just think I would have a really hard time using this color. But I wanted to try some Stampin' Up! Cardstock because I just wanted to see what it was like. It's been years since I've used it. Pardon my pop. So I think that they look really nice together, and this is what I'm going to kind of use. I'm going to focus on to create my layout. Okay, I've got it out. My white, my gray. This is the Pebble, I believe. I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the in color. It's the gray in color. And I'm just going to use charcoal ink. I did get that little pebble, but it's just such a small surface for inking this up, and I don't think you'll notice the difference. And I'm going to just print up the background here, and I'm going to have a grid style layout, so you're really only going to see a tic-tac-toe. So I'm just going to print it up that way. Here we go. And I'm just on the back of my Versamats here. This stamp is from the Dream Maker stamp set from Close to My Heart, but any script stamp would do for this. I'm just kind of making a newspapery looking background wherever it's going to be showing through. And I inked around the edges and added some splatter stamps in almond or like an off-white beigey color, just to print it up a little bit more, make it look a little more old-fashioned. I ended up filling in those spots because I realized that I'm going to have a grid going both ways. So I kind of needed it to be all covered so that when you look between the squares, you still see the writing. So these are the main three colors that I'm going to use, plus the pebbled path in the background. And then I'm going to be adding in some parts of the card fronts that coordinate with these colors. I did a lot of inking. I did like heavy-handed inking around the edges because I really wanted to have a distressed look to this because the pictures are going to be a city in Germany that has a lot of older buildings and also some newer buildings, so it's kind of eclectic, and I really wanted to make the page reflect that. I think I mentioned before that I just love this clay paper color. It's slipping my mind the exact name right now. Copper clay, maybe. I really like the color for going with the brick buildings in Europe. All my photos are 3x3 except for one is 4x6. And I plan to put the 4x6 on top of this larger square. I do end up switching that out later, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. So I have 3.5 by 3.5 squares. I'm just going to switch my layouts around here because I actually want my main photo to be, or my larger photo to be on this side. So I have 3.5 by 3.5 squares down right now, and then I'm going to layer them up with 3.25 mats and 3x3 pictures. So this is one of the elements from the card front, and I'm just using some charcoal ink to kind of stamp on it just the way that you're told to do it for the card, but they fit perfectly on my squares, so I'm going to use this one on one of my squares. And I'm also going to be using the cityscape stamp to stamp on the pre-cut pieces for the cards of the city. Oftentimes I do a lot of this preparation off camera, but this time I did have some video of it, so I wanted to include it so you could see kind of how I inked these and made them look distressed so that they would look great on the pages. When I saw this card kit, I knew right away what I wanted to use it for, and I absolutely love the colors, and I think the cards themselves are very cute, but I really want to show you how you can stretch supplies. So far, Stampin' Up! Doesn't have a ton of scrapbooking friendly supplies. So this was one way that you could really stretch supplies and use the different elements to work on a scrapbooking page. When none of your patterned papers are 12 by 12, a grid style layout is a great idea because you can cut all of your papers down to 3 by 3 or 3.5 by 3.5, and it works excellent for having partial pieces of paper or having a 6 by 6 little paper packet. This is the Creative Memories circle cutting system. It is the best circle cutting system in my opinion, and I wanted to have some circles in this layout to kind of soften up the hard lines, and a lot of the pictures looked really good in a circle, plus I was following the circles that came with the card fronts, so I wanted to include more circles to make it fitting. So I'm going to print up the background of this circle because I want it to kind of have a cityscape so it goes with the other circles. So I'm just kind of inking it up to match. I didn't have an exact match of the other circles that came with the card kits, so I just inked it up a little bit to make it match a little better. And then I'm just adding this cityscape in the background, and then I'm going to add kind of a reflection going the other way. Oh, and I also added some background second generation stamping to look like the city went on in the background. And then after that, I'll use the other stamp to create a reflection going down the other way. This was another one of those work trips for my husband that I tagged along on. We were in Frankfurt, Germany, and my pictures are kind of eclectic. I know I haven't shown them yet, but I will show them soon. You'll see them appear on the page. But they are the old city and of the new parts of the city, and I just thought that this paper was perfect to go with them. This was my first trip to Germany, and I was really pleasantly surprised at how beautiful their cities are. I should know that. They are just as old as everything else in Europe, but for some reason I didn't realize how much I was going to like it. So I'll just ink up around the edges quite generously, and then I'm going to add some more of this text strip with some almond colored ink. It's a very light color. It's hardly going to show on this paper, but I just really wanted this circle to kind of reflect the background and look really grungy. The technique I'm using for this is I just put the acrylic stamp on my fingers, and then you get it kind of darker in some places and lighter in other places. And it doesn't always fully stamp, and that's kind of what I wanted. One of the photos I'm bringing in is a very long name, street name, German street name, and I've cut up to the sign on each side with my trimmer, and then I just went with a scissors very carefully around the sign so that it kind of can stick off my square. I really like how that looks. It kind of pops off the page at you, and it really goes well with my paper choices. This is probably the best picture I have for matching my paper choices. I'm also starting to bring in some more circles to make that circle feel more natural on the page and to soften up all these grid style squares. There's going to be a lot of layering on this layout because even on the squares where I'm placing a photo, I'm going to be placing a photo mat on most of them, or if not all of them. I've also cut 2 extra rings in behind that picture of my husband and I. I used the Creative Memories circle cutter to cut those rings. They're about 1/8 of an inch. Maybe one's a little bit bigger. And I have removed the big square that I had behind there. I just didn't like it. I walked away for a day and came back, and that big square wasn't working for me. You will notice that I will bring in individual squares in behind there because I also don't like how this looks right now. Somehow it's just not popping out enough. I'm planning to stamp my title Frankfurt in behind this cityscape here, and I'm also adding in these strips. This strip was made from the leftover from a card front, and I'm putting it upside down so it looks kind of like a reflection. So I'm actually covering up the reflection that I stamped, but you never know what you're going to do. So I guess I wasted my time doing that, but I didn't know that I was going to cover it. In my stash, I found this scenic route little diamond shaped sign that I'm using there, or square on an angle. And so I've added that one in, and now I'm adding in those squares behind the circle, and I like it better when I just continued the checkers rather than having that one big square, which was kind of, it felt distracting to me. The hardest part of this layout for me was arranging that left-hand page, having the picture, the focal picture of us and the circle kind of fit in with the smaller grid style squares. Once I got that done, the right-hand page came together very quickly. When I'm stamping with letters, stamping a title, and I do not have the letters repeated that I need to use twice, what I'll normally do is place them on and then move that letter to the next spot. And so then I have the exact right size gaps to add in the rest of my title. So I will start making the word Frankfurt, and when I get to a letter that I need to use again, I'll take it off the block and replace it, and then I will just continue on with the word until I get to another letter I'm going to need to reuse. I hope that makes sense. So that ensures that I have the exact right size gap so that I can add the letters in the gaps and it's going to look exactly right. So I think that title looks pretty good. It's pretty straight across the top there. And I used that paprika ink as you saw, and I was really, really happy with that because it matches so well. I wasn't expecting it to match that good. So if you are like me and you're having to budget your ink purchasing from Stampin' Up because you have all your inks already in Close to My Heart, then this is a great dupe. So this is one that can wait a little while before you buy it. It's funny how when you're working on something, you don't notice things that are obvious to you when you're watching the video later on. I noticed now that I really had those two circles too close together, and I did see it, but it took me a while to notice, and eventually I'll move that the circle with the statue in it to the bottom right because it is much better there. Right now I kind of have all the circles pushed together in one spot. I had also created a few more of those rings in smaller sizes, so I kind of interlock them here and there on the page just to bring those circles around the page a bit more. The picture of me in the sunglasses there behind me is a bunch of locks on a bridge. So that's more common. There's a lock bridge in Paris as well, but that was kind of neat. So I just wanted to kind of get those on there. And it worked good in the circle because I really didn't need the whole background. It's kind of the same as the main background of my husband and I. So yeah, I really like how that turned out. I just have kind of part of my face there. And then the town square is the picture of my husband and I on the far right. And everything was blooming. It was March. So some of these pictures are really cute. And I'm glad I could include so many on the page. I believe that building behind us in the town square is the city hall, and that's where they get married. They do this in the Netherlands as well. So you have a church wedding, but first you have to go legally get married at the city hall or the courthouse. So several couples came out of there and had their picture taken in front of the door in their wedding attire because they had just gotten legally married, and then they go on to the church to get married in whatever faith they are. I was able to work in my urban stamps a few times. Close to my heart, I had a paper pack called Urban. It was sort of a city-themed pack, and we actually had it as a bring back my pack. So I have 2 stamp sets from it. And I used one of the cityscape stamps on that white circle on the far right, and then most of the like arrows and the little sign are from it as well. Here is the finished layout. So if you enjoyed watching this layout come together, you know the drill. Hit that thumbs up button and please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I absolutely appreciate everyone who stops by and watches me create these layouts. I have so much fun sharing it with you, and it's just been a fun little project for me to have my YouTube channel. I hope that you'll keep coming back for more, and leave me a comment on what you think of this layout or if you've been to Frankfurt. And I guess I will catch you all next time here on YouTube. Bye.